Bacteria. Who? Fungi. Dead body. Organic matter. Mineral. Air.
Many inner-city schools have impoverished and sometimes contaminated soil. This is mainly caused by historic industrial activity, but some schools have been built on landfill sites, old housing estates, or even the rubble of their old school. The Save Our Soils project aims to work with young people to explore the impact of poor soils on their school's community.
Over the past few months, we have been learning about soils.
The project organised trips to partner organisations including Debdale Eco Centre, the laboratories of the University of Manchester and the University of Salford, and, for one school, a trip to a building site.
We went to Debdale Park where we tested different soils and their different pH. We added a chemical to the soil and it changed colour. I had coconut soil and it was the most acidic. Our school soil was surprisingly neutral. It is surprising because our school soil is full of rocks.
The spy club visited us. We used microscope and soil from our forest garden to investigate what lived in the soil. We found springtails, nematodes and worms. We even saw a nematode pooping. We couldn't find so much in our school soil, but there were tiny worms. I have enjoyed learning about how worms keep our soil healthy. I think people should stop cutting down trees because this will increase global warming and we will have less oxygen.
They brought microscopes and we saw worms, millipedes, springtails and nematodes.
Fun fact, if you take a handful of soil, there is more creatures in there than the entire of the human population.
We went to the Salford and we met a soil detective. The soil detective's real name was Andrew Clark. We got to take face masks and a suit back to our school. We x-rayed the soil, which we dug up, and we were checking for any heavy metals and minerals. And we found lead in the soil, which is very bad for you.
Based on their learning, the schools then took action to share their knowledge and to improve their school's soil.
I had this idea to plant trees in our school field as it was going to waste.
Silver birch trees do help the soil because they have deep roots which go down the soil and break things like rocks and pipes, which makes a healthier soil.
Trees do help the environment as they produce air and they create compost in autumn for themselves. As their leaves fall down and start to rot, they absorb the nutrients. But when the school team come blow away all the leaves, we don't have as much organic compost as we should have. So we would have to buy compost, which is a waste of money because it may not be organic. You can never trust a label. Yeah.
We put some wooden planks on the edge of the field so the soil don't wash away. We then put better compost in holes before we planted new trees to make our grounds better. We put wood chips around the trees to help keep in nutrients and to improve the soil.
So I'm here to talk about the batteries. We have asked our school to bring in batteries from their homes. We want to take in all the spare batteries and recycle them and make more batteries so they don't have to fall onto the landfill. And because we shouldn't throw them onto the landfill because the batteries have a poisonous chemical inside of them that can harm most of the animals.
We went to Eric Wright's building site to learn more about the contaminated soils.
We've played a game called Life of a Worm that inspired us to make Contaminopoly. In Contaminopoly there's different types of elements
like cork, carrot, lead and arsenic. There's also facts cards which help you in the game.
We were lucky enough to be invited to Andy Burnham's Green Summit. Lots of organisations were there to make Manchester green. We spoke to lots of people in suits and asked them what they were doing to help the environment. We met Professor Kevin Anderson, who is a world expert on climate change, who is trying to clean up Manchester. I have enjoyed speaking to others who want to improve the environment and meeting Andy Burnham.
MEEN organised the Save Our Soils Intergenerational Conference, with schools and partner organisations giving talks, running workshops, listening and learning from each other.
It was really in the context of how we're going to save our soils. What are we going to do in Greater Manchester to make things better? And I just thought it was worth saying that by 2050 we've got a big problem because our world population is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but our lands aren't getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we need to get more from less all the time. Organic matter is just the catch-all name for soil carbon. It might be compost, it might be turning into green manure, it might be humus. There's all sorts of different names, but organic matter is like the catch name for it all. If you don't have organic matter, you can't have a living soil.
I am a lecturer in environmental assessment and management at the University of Salford. So assessment and management, that means I measure things in the environment, contaminants in air, water and land, and management means I try to find solutions to those environmental problems.
Two of the soil samples that we looked at under a microscope were from our school grounds. The first was from the car park and the second was from around the playground. We discovered that the first was impoverished, but the second was really good quality soil. This was because when the school was built around 10 years ago, the builders replaced the top layer of soil with good quality soil from somewhere else.
Climate change affects the earth by the atmosphere getting hotter. This is caused by cars, power stations and other pollutants going into the atmosphere. Eventually, plants and trees will die from the lack of water or flooding. This affects the soil by it losing its nutrients or getting too wet.
We should save our soils.
I was interested. You mentioned about the pH of the soil. That's difficult. What's a good pH for your soil? Do you know what that is? 7 is good, is it? Oh, right, brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. I work with lots and lots of farmers. What would be your number one tip if you had the opportunity to get them to look after their soil? Because you guys are already.
We would just give them green manure so they could get better quality soil.
That's something that we teach grown-up farmers about all the time, cover crops, and you guys already know about it.
Were you worried by finding so little life in your soil?
Me? Yeah. Yes.
And what? Have you started to do anything to address that?
We put wood chips and we rolled more trees.
Excellent. Yeah.
Asbestos is mined all over the world.
That one's a false, I believe.
Yes!
Oh,
blimey. You've been squashed. So these both bacteria or?
No. This is bacteria.
Did the teachers get it?
I don't know.
Is it an egg? Protozoa. They eat the bacteria.
Oh, so we're on this list here.
Wait, no.
They can go up to the bacteria can go up to a kilometre underground.
That's a nematode. Can I join?
Yes, can you see it's like transparent?
What we've done, you put your light.
Yeah, I did it before.
You did it before, do you want to try again? Okay, there you go.
Wait, did you
There we go.
Plenty for everyone? Nope. They came to Medlock Primary School and we did it.
I think it'd be really lovely to do a project that could get you on the radio telling everybody about what you know, because you know tons.
I want to have my own show.
Absolutely, I think you should.
I personally think that rainforests and peatlands are sort of the same, but not really the same, because rainforests store a bunch of animals and they also store like carbon and a bunch of trees, and it rains a lot in the rainforest.
Not that much power, but he said he had no power, and now you're saying you haven't got much power.
I'm strong against the wall.
And then he started to say, I've got knowledge, and that's power. So actually, yeah.
You guys actually know.
Yeah.
You guys actually know about some stuff that is very, very technical. If you talk to some of our farmers who are grown-ups and do this as a job, they are learning the same things as you are.
So happy soil saving group, and the worms will have a party if you help them in that way. Thank you.
Happy